Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello, people, and welcome to the Rational League with all the rational people in the world. Of course, we haven't done a show for a while. Of course, that Rory's not here, Igal is here, Tom is here, Jamie's not here, Patrick is here, staff is joining us. There's a lot to talk about. Ekitike prefers Man United. Like he says that it was always his dream move. Broski, I don't know.
Is lying out his ass.
Bro, Broski, like the guy is 20 years old. He said it's always dream move. Like, was he watching Man United when he was like 6 years old? Like, why is this? He's like,
No,
I
he's a
always
Man United
wanted
fan,
Man
so.
United. It's actually crazy. Now, listen, Arsenal actually pulled out of the Gyökeres thing. They think it's too expensive. They might buy Sesko, but also they're in now for Oli Watkins. So Arsenal with Oli Watkins will be absolutely scary next season. Of course, a lot of people are talking about Citypool next season. Liverpool arguably winning the transfer window, but City fans disagree with that. Had a long argument with Ashraf yesterday, who thinks that City are actually ahead of Arsenal, ahead of Liverpool. Actually, ChatGPT thinks that actually City will win the league next season, even if Liverpool buy a striker apart from Isak. If Liverpool buy any striker, ChatGPT thinks that actually City will win the league on 94 points. Go and ask ChatGPT this. It's actually crazy. And Chelsea are stubborn. They are going to stick with Sanchez and Jorgensen and only Delap up front. They're actually not in for anyone, of course. And Liverpool are wrapping up Gyökeres and they're move on Nunes. And there is a massive news coming from Italy, from La Gazzetta dello Sport, that actually Napoli are interested in Darwin Nunes, and there can be a swap deal between Darwin Nunes and Victor Osimhen. Actually, if Liverpool can agree personal terms with Victor Osimhen, and it's a head-for-head, like nobody's going to pay anything. It's only about the personal terms, and if both players agree the deal. And for Gianni's actually comment here, he said, Igal on the Rational League is quite ironic. I actually, to be honest with you, I wanted to address this. I actually think that Igal is quite rational on YouTube. He might like do the tweet here and there on Twitter for like engagement and for like edgy takes. But I actually think that Igal is quite rational on YouTube. And the difference is how the perception is for somebody. And I'm telling you honestly, this is how it goes. Rory backs Arsenal, right? And he's a positive Arsenal fan. Igal is a positive Arsenal fan. But because a lot of people actually say that Igal is delusional, people just think like a perception that Igal is like, oh, how is he rational? I think Igal is quite rational. Every time Igal has been on my channel or I've been on his channel, I've had really good conversations. It's the perception. Tom as well. Tom goes on Hussam, does this edgy takes, comes on my channel, And he's the only one that is always rational is Dan, to be honest. It doesn't matter if it's on Saeed, Football Terrace here. He's always rational. He doesn't like just do the edgy takes and stuff like this. But big up everybody that is here. Now we got over 400
What are my
people
edgy
here.
takes on Hussam?
Broski, you said stuff on Hussam's channel that Hussam clipped you like 50,000 clips. Like Hussam has like a whole clips of you. You know what I mean? And every time I talk to Hussam, you tell me don't talk to Tom. He's delusional.
Yeah, that's the sound for you.
Always don't talk to Tom. He's delusional. How do you have Tom on the Rational League? Why you're not adding Tom to our Tuesday show? Like, it's just different. But listen, people, it's over 500, almost 500 people here in the house, and we haven't even started. Let's get the likes up. There's only 60 likes. It's actually crazy. Igal Talks Football in the description. Everyone knows Igal on the internet. True City fan, Patrick is so consistent with his shows at the current moment. He's doing a lot of morning shows. Tom has just did a show before this. Go and watch it. It's actually crazy and good and actually lovely. And Dan's channel is there. We're going to push Dan to do like regular shows as we pushed like Jess, as we pushed Rory. So we're going to actually see if Dan can be more consistent on YouTube on his channel. And Staff is going to be here. He's making coffee for the last half an hour. Staffy texted me half an hour ago, said, I'm making coffee. That's the longest coffee I've seen in my life. But listen, I'm big up Mr. Iguana saying have a blessed week all. Yeah, big up. Thank you so much. Where do we start? Actually,
can I ask a question?
Yeah, you can. You can actually start the show.
World Cup last night?
I didn't.
No.
I watched that Palmeiras Porto game. That was the first time I've seen a non-European team.
Did Estevao play?
Yeah, he played decent.
Did he play good?
He's all right. It's all right.
I don't know why Lee gonna.
Is he that good? Okay, so hear me out. This is very good start of the show. Very good. Lee tweets yesterday. Estevao looked right. I didn't watch the game. This is me personally. That is paired with the news that Chelsea are sticking with Delap and Jackson to see how it goes in the Club World Cup. A lot of Chelsea fans that I've spoken to have actually spoken about how Estevao is going to change the team, how Estevao coming is a weapon, he's a force. Some people went, Don thinks that Estevao can be the what is it called, the coming of Neymar or something like this in Europe. And
the second coming of Neymar
in Europe. And that is maybe why Chelsea are not going in for they're going for Gittin, who's a young young winger. They're not going for a striker. Are actually Chelsea being stubborn and arrogant?
Well, Maresca said this morning in the press conference that something will happen around a winger for sure because we only have 3 left after Sancho left. So I think that's just like bide our time, be patient. Transfer window opens today. Did it not reopen today?
Yes.
So I would expect something to happen with that. I thought Estevao looked pretty good though. I don't think I was watching someone that looks like they've changed a game like Yamal. Let's get that out there first. I don't think we're seeing someone that's on exactly that level, but for a 17-year-old kid to show that he's fluid across all 3 positions across the front, can try and appear in any area on the pitch. I was pretty pleased with what I saw against a decent Champions League side in Porto as well. They're going to give you a good test, a physical side. I was pretty okay with the performance I saw yesterday.
Do you
think it's that good, though? Do you think it's that good?
Let me say this. I was watching the game. I watched the entirety of the game. I found myself impressed with his ability to problem solve in tight spaces because that was the main thing that I took away from it. As a winger, to be able to get yourself from very dangerous situations where you have 2 players pressing you and that are bigger than you that can just body you off the ball, and to somehow come out of that and be in the final third once again. It's like I found it very impressive. He was really good at problem solving, but I don't know how
is he gonna take Chelsea? Okay, to be honest with you, this is it. Chelsea, that is Mo's opinion. Chelsea have the capacity, if they add the right players, to challenge next season.
He's already one of Chelsea's best wingers already, in my opinion.
Nah, stop the cap.
Based on technical ability, if he just improves his finishing and it gets stronger, I think he's already one of Chelsea's best wingers.
Yeah, I kind of agree with what Gal's saying. I don't think there's much of a difference in level between him, Madueke, Neto, and like a Tyreek George.
There is or there is none? There is.
I think as a 17-year-old, he goes straight into that conversation to whether or not he should start for Chelsea. From what I saw yesterday, I wouldn't think that he's that far off that level, and he's only 17. So he's about 5-6 years behind some of those guys. Pedro Neto, he's like 8 years behind. So I think the conversation's there for him to potentially be a starter for Chelsea.
But don't you think that Chelsea need players to actually ready to challenge? Like, I think with an elite winger and a striker, and maybe even with Saka, if you got signed Manyan, with all due respect, for 18 million pounds.
The defender, mature defender.
Like, I don't think even with the defender, because we forget that Chelsea at the end of the season have actually had a very good defensive record. Everyone forgets that Maresca has figured out how to tighten the defense, especially with Reece James coming back. You know what I mean? Reece James, Cucurella, and remember, Fofana might be back for them. Like, Fofana is a big addition. They have Tosin, they have Colwell, Caicedo in front of them, who is gaining experience year in, year out, like every year now. Enzo Fernandez has improved. I actually think that with a winger and an elite striker, apart from Delap, maybe Chelsea can actually push.
Do you know what, bro? Let me say.
Well, who's the winger?
But that's what I mean. If they put all their eggs in Estevao's basket, or Gittins, who's young.
No, I don't think they will. I don't think they'll
really
put all
said
their
they're going to
eggs
sign
in.
one more.
Yeah, I think they'll sign
Gittins,
one more
but he's still young. He's
Yeah,
not. With all due respect,
Chelsea...
Liverpool have Gakpo, Diaz, Salah as wingers, and
Chelsea's on a different time scale than Arsenal, City.
Why? Why is that? Why is that?
Because Chelsea's project is supposed to be ready in 3 years' time. I don't know why everyone who keeps saying this ignores this point. Chelsea are building a team to compete by 2027. Therefore, it is not in their timeline to be building to have a title challenge in 2025. Their whole thing is that by 2027, they will have a team that is around 25 years old as an average age, that have played together for about 3 years and are ready to compete for the next 4 years together. That is the whole point of the plan. There is no point in doing this plan and building this plan for 3.5 to 4 years. And in the moment you get top four going, Ben, let's go back to the old way. I superstar. Because that doesn't work. Chelsea are not going to. I will say this right now. Chelsea, this window, are not going to buy enough. Would not be able to buy enough players to turn them into title challengers. No, they're not going to get the world-class goalie, the world-class centre-back, the solid enough midfield depth, the world-class winger, and the world-class striker. They're not going to get all that in one window. Therefore, they will not challenge for the Premier League title. So there's no point in throwing away the plan to build for something that you're not going to do anyway. They should stick by the plan, and then when they are closer and ready as a team to get to that point, that's when you go spend big.
I disagree.
But right now, it makes no sense.
I disagree too.
No, I don't think they'll spend big time. I don't think they will.
Cucurella ready. Reece James ready. I think Colwell is good enough with another. If you get an elite, okay, hold on. Let me just. If you get an elite centre back next to Colwell, I think his ability will show. I think Caicedo is ready. I think Enzo Fernandez is ready. I think Palmer is ready. I think Palmer is ready. Neto might improve next season, right? I think, why not, bro? You won the league with Diaz and Gakpo. You won the league with Diaz because you have. Okay, hold on. You won the league with one. You won the league, Tom. You won the league with one elite forward player. One elite. Yeah. Different Salah. One elite forward player.
Do you know what the difference is, though, Mo? Cody Gakpo got me 14 goals and assists in the league, and Diaz got me, I think, 16.
That's not a lot. Any winger can get that. Neto can get 14 goals and assists in the league.
No way.
Pedro
Neto, he can.
Oh my God.
Mo, hang on, Mo. In all seriousness,
I'm very
Pedro
serious.
Neto may not have that many goals in his whole professional career.
No. Pedro Neto, in my opinion, can get 15 GA if he's consistently starting in one position and he has an elite striker playing up front. Without a shadow,
has he gotten 15?
He can get at least about like 8.
Pedro Neto has 15 career Premier League goals.
That's what I mean.
Has he gotten 15 GA in a season before in his career?
No.
You guys watch
maybe did Whit get high on the assist one season, but I think he got injured.
I'm not even bantering. I'm looking at it right now.
The highest he's got is 11. The highest GA season he's put together is 11.
No, last season was good for him. He got 12. That was GA in total.
Is that all comps though, Gal?
He got 9 assists in 2024. 9 assists.
By the way, I think we need to be careful what we're doing here because that we're almost suggesting that Neto is a bad player. I think Neto is a good
No,
player.
not at all. I'm just saying.
I just don't think numbers-wise his output is ever going to be on the level that, you know, like a Cody Gakpo might be. I just don't think it ever would be.
He's like the pass before a pass guy. He's a dangerous threat, but he's never really produced the end product to match his threat that he has.
His assists, I think he had a season at Wolves where his assists were arguably right up there in terms of numbers in the Prem.
He got 9 assists in 20 games.
He got 9 assists
in the season before.
That's pretty good. Like, that's pretty good for a winger.
In 20 games too. He didn't play many games.
But that's an outlier of a season.
I don't think it is. I don't think it's an outlier of a season. If this season is, you know, another season, he had the one thing he had there was a striker that was set up to play to his style, which was when the crosses were delivered, that striker would be Jimenez, who would be able to get on the end of the crosses, would be a threat in the box. I don't think we saw that with Jackson that much this season. And I think what Delap brings potentially is a player that's open to performing in a system where Neto thrives. And I think that's potentially what Chelsea are looking at. A couple of their rumoured strikers that they've been linked with.
Chelsea spend that much money, Dan, and on £60 million on a player that you don't think can get 20 GA.
I think Chelsea value I've said this before. I think Chelsea value the pound a lot less than other teams. I think 60 million to Chelsea isn't 60 million to Arsenal.
Dan, what's that?
I think because I think Chelsea's owners are happy to spend 60 million on Pedro Neto. And you know, if he does okay, they accept that. And I think they believe that his value will always sort of sit around
where did you get this done?
Maybe because
I think Chelsea have shown that they're willing to spend more money than other teams on players. I think we saw that with Enzo Fernandez. We saw it with Casado. We've seen them pay over the top for Mudryk, Lavia, a number of players. Chelsea, Cucurella was 70 million, 60 million. Chelsea have paid a lot of money for players and been patient with them in terms of their output and their
Neto's 26, Dan. Neto's 26.
Are you seeing a shift to that though? Are you seeing a shift to that though?
Not yet.
From I'm just telling you what it seems to me. It seems to me that Chelsea have all these young players, but they want to improve internally as much as they want to do through the transfer window now. Because for you to say you're not going to pay an extra 5 million for the goalkeeper, or to not pay a little bit more to get Gittins, is telling me that you guys are maybe shifting the way that you think about transfers.
I think they might realise that they paid I think they realised probably that clubs abroad were upping the price and making Chelsea pay a premium, because I think there was a little bit of naivety early on. I think what they've realised is there's a fair value and they don't want to be too far away from that. But I also think they're willing to pay, like, it was only last season they paid 60 million for Pedro Neto as a 24-year-old. So it's you know, people saying, no, that was when Bowley was in charge. Egbali, as far as we were aware, was making calls last season as well, and he was happy to pay 60 million for Neto. So I think as long as they can work out that fee, make sure it works out financially, that's when they're okay. In terms of a fee being what some of us would deem expensive, but they view it as if that player fits the system and how we want to play, then it's worth what he costs.
Hey, can I say something on Esteval? More, is it Esteval? You guys have to be careful, because we have seen this before. We've seen it with Hendrik, who I think was way better. We've seen it with Keke, who was way better. We've seen it with Jesus. Jesus came in, didn't shine that much. He shined, but not that much.
Jesus was good.
You can't be gassing up this kid saying he has to come in and all that. I've seen this before. I've seen the next Neymar in Keke. Let's not forget the City got the next Neymar in Keke. And now
I remember Inter signed a player called Gabriel Barbosa because he won the...
People have to be careful.
Oh my Gabigol, he flopped so bad.
This is what I'm saying.
And you also had Alexander Pato.
Look at that. Somebody said, oh, Keke, this guy is superior than Hendrik. No, Hendrik was a monster. Hendrik was a killer. He was supposed to be the next big thing. So be careful. I don't know about.
No, but he went to Real Madrid, Hendrik.
I know. But I'm talking about.
He would have been playing if he went somewhere else.
Patrick, I think this one is similar to Rodrigo and Vinicius Jr. in the fact that I think you can sign these players for big fees, but to expect them to perform instantly is a very hard task. Like, I personally don't think we're buying Neymar here. I've seen Esteval look good, but I've not seen him, you know, doing what Neymar was doing at the same age.
This is what I'm saying.
I haven't seen that. But I think what you have to be careful of is that these players have time on their side, but even by the time they're 21, you all of a sudden might see a huge development. They might have changes in their body. You just don't know what can happen in that time. So there's a lot of talent there. It's there for people to see, But instant impact with a whole shift in everything that's going on in his private life, moving to a different continent, everything, it's incredibly tough for him to just come in and hit the ground running and not worry about anything else. So I think we saw with Rodrigo, with Vinicius Jr., that these players can be incredibly talented, come over to Real Madrid, and then take a few years. Remember, Benzema said, "Is Vinicius playing against us?"
Vini was poor. Even his introduction video was poor.
And I think you just have to be careful there. But what we saw him do against the European opposition last night, I think was promising. I think there was good signs there. By the way,
nobody's.
I'm going to ask you guys a question. I'm going to ask a question for real. Hold on.
I was the one who said I think he's ready. I think he's ready to be in the mix of that starting team. Like, I'm not saying he's going to guarantee be starting every single week.
I want to ask a question before we end that Chelsea segment. Guys, there's about 900 people here. Can we get the likes up? There's only 100 likes. So hit that like button. It helps the channel massively, massively, massively. If you like the video, we can get this show live to 500 likes. Why are Chelsea getting away with it? Spending that much money. And Tom is telling me it's a 5-year project under this ownership. Why? Because that's not my question. There's a lot of people that come on my chat and actually comment on the shows and tell me, Mo, why we're so lenient on Chelsea? All your panelists are so lenient. Why they're not lenient on others? Why now we're still saying that Chelsea, if they get top 4, get a good run in the Champions League, it's okay. Chelsea spend a lot of money for a team that should be actually now in the mix. No one else is going to have this leeway. And because they change managers, it's no rival's fault. Why?
It's because of the type of player that they're buying, though, Mo, isn't it? Chelsea,
they're not buying the player that I sit there and go should be winning a Premier League title.
That's exactly it. They're spending the money that you would pay for the top player, but they're spending it on players that aren't at that level yet. And that's why I genuinely think they value the pound less in terms of how much they're willing to spend on a player. They're, like Tom said, they're gambling on a duration of 10 years. Hoping that player can be there for a long period of time and perform for that whole period of time, and then their fee doesn't look that bad over a longer period of time. I think that's what they're doing.
Can I counter that? Can I counter that before you speak? And I will let you respond. So if Arsenal this season went and bought a 21 years old Sesko and a young player, a young winger, will we say, okay, Arsenal are buying young, they can wait. It's okay for them to wait. Why Arsenal's money and City's money, if they buy youngsters, gets brought up, and even Liverpool.
Thank you very much.
And Chelsea. Why is it? Let me just finish the point. Why is Chelsea? Because they buy youngsters, they get in time. But if other teams buy youngsters, people ask a question. It's your choice to go and buy a youngster. It is your choice not to go and buy the ready-made players. You fork the money for these youngsters.
Yeah, but people will say that to Chelsea, wouldn't they? If Chelsea don't win anything in a season or two, people will say, why? And I've questioned this. I've said many times, and people don't like me for saying it, but I've said I don't understand why the owners of this obsession with waiting to win a trophy and delaying the process. I would much rather Chelsea go out and buy the best talent available that instantly impacts the team. But that's their methodology, and they've made it very clear from the out. Like, they made it so clear that I think everyone's aware of how Chelsea are going to act now. They know they're going to only buy youngsters. They know they probably won't go out and they won't spend an extra 5 million on Mike Maignan in goal because they don't value him at 29 as a decent option at that price range. So they won't spend the money. So it just shows they're not putting their priority towards instant impact. They'd probably rather Mike Penders come through, perform, and be at an okay, acceptable level for the Premier League than pay an extra 5 million for Mike Maignan.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. I've said this multiple times.
You don't buy what, Patrick? Because that's what they're doing, though.
Yeah, but let me.
It's not buying. By the way, what Dan said are facts. They're not opinions.
Yeah,
this is what the owners are doing.
Yeah, but
opinions, though, is that we can disagree or agree with the way they are doing it.
Yeah, the way I think most
the facts are they are going for young players, as Tom said, for the next 5-6 years. They are doing that. That's a fact. It's not opinion.
Can I give an example, though?
Okay, but where the difference lies between those facts is the opinion on what those players are capable of doing on the pitch. That's where the discussion around Chelsea happens. Some people believe those players are far more able and capable than what is being suggested about their age. And some people think they're too young and it'll be a future development that those players come to fruition and deliver trophies. And I think that's where, in the Chelsea fan base, there's disagreement. Some people believe it's enough. and some people are very vocal that it isn't enough. And I think that's where
I don't get it, because I get where, like you're saying, this is what your owners are doing, but let's not forget the same Caicedo you have is what Liverpool was looking for. I see Caicedo at Liverpool. He comes to City, we use him in a certain way. I look at your team, right? And I think I'm with more. Yes, I get it that that's what your owners are doing, but I think it's also becoming an excuse that if there's a certain part of the fan base that's accepting that, then basically you're just accepting projects. Because let's talk about this. How many projects have you had? Every time I talk to Chelsea fans, I've been on panels for about 6 years. It's always, oh, there's a project. It's going to come out. At least Patrick, calm down. There's a project. Oh, the reason why we're bringing Koulibaly is for this project, for him to look after these youngsters. Koulibaly has been shipped out. Or the reason why we're bringing Enzo Fernandez, the reason why we invested, or it's because we're trying to invest in the top level World Cup winner who's going to be something. If I got Enzo Fernandez in my team, he's doing something. Mo is right. And even the people who are asking are right. Why is that Enzo Fernandez goes to Chelsea? It's okay. Let's wait for him. Caicedo, let's wait for him. There's a project. No, I think the team you have, that's why when you go top 4, I was saying, yeah, this is a team that has to get top 4. And if you got less than top 4, it's going to be a failure. So I don't get why, if let's say Mo comes here and says, why don't you guys look for a better keeper, or look for, if you want, maybe a better striker, or I think you guys just need 3 players to make yourself a threat. This is on my case when I watch them. I think they need 3 players to make yourself a threat. I think
between 3 and 5, to be honest.
I think you need a sort of a mature defender who's just a leader, even if they're young, but they're very good. Like I say, how with the
Patrick, what you're doing here is exactly what I just said, right? Is that you're now accepting that that's the fact that what's happening at Chelsea is the fact that they keep regenerating projects, trying to buy young players, move them on for profit. All of that is facts. It's all happening. There's been a lot of mess and disorganization and different views of what Chelsea's direction should be in their own board and hierarchy, that it's been a constant regeneration of different projects because, you know, they've got these billionaire, very like set in their ways owners or board directors, however you want to dress it up, and they're all pulling in different directions. So they're trying to focus and settle on one. It was clear that Bowley wanted to spend money on bigger profile players, and Egbali wanted to work in a way that's similar to Brighton and try and buy players at a cheaper value and then generate higher worth in those players later on down the line. And you can kind of see that they're pulling in different ways. And I think they're slowly starting to align now, that one will pull towards youngsters and their development, and the other will buy good assets at okay prices. Someone like Mike Maignan, they went to try and make that deal happen because they felt like if they could get him at the right price, it was like a player they could bring in that was good enough to elevate the team instantly and fit in with how we're going to spend money. What you're now doing is having a debate about how good those players are for their age and their price tag, which is the debate that's happening within Chelsea's fan base. That's purely opinion, which we're all entitled to, but that's when you're going away from the facts that are happening. You're saying, I believe Caicedo is this good, but someone on the other side of the coin might be saying Caicedo on his own isn't enough. What I'd throw into that, though, is Caicedo and Enzo Fernandez are players that were incredibly talented for their age, incredibly highly valued by like a number of different teams around Europe, and they were like the cream of the crop. Where Chelsea haven't bought everyone in their starting 11, though, in that manner, they've bought some players like Madueke, who wasn't like touted by all of the teams around Europe. They bought him for 30, 40 million, and he's been okay. And that's where there's a difference. If the whole of Chelsea's team was 100 million on the best youngster in class in that position, I think then there'd be a fair point.
Also, we have to wait. As you say, we have to wait 3 years for this.
You've got to wait for these young players to develop to a point where people believe there's no more development on the table and this is their level. That's what to make a fair judgment on where Chelsea have spent their money. That's honestly what I think you've got to do.
I can't judge the project until the project is done. I can't judge the project until the project has been seen through.
So Arsenal project is not done yet?
No, Arsenal's project's not done yet, but Arsenal also on at the beginning phase of their project. They're at the point where they need to make the change to the setup. Chelsea aren't at that point yet. Chelsea are still getting through their project. You know what? The point that gets me with all this, Chelsea bought how many fucking highly rated youngsters, and yet we're judging them when these youngsters haven't even hit the point where we're expecting them to be in this team, which is why they spent all the money on these highly rated youngsters. If once these youngsters have come into the team, you like say Andre Santos's and Estevals, etc., they all come in and come, 3 years time when this project's supposed to be done. Chelsea have won fuck all. Then I sit there and go, what a fucking waste of time and money that was. But I can't sit there and go, "Oh, what a waste of time and money," when half the project's not even here yet. It's a very different project to anything we've seen in football before. But it doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means that Chelsea fans need to have a lot of patience. The problem is they're trying to do this long-term project at a club which has never typically had patience under the previous ownership. So that's where the clash starts.
We're gonna move on from Chelsea.
Let me just go off what Tom just said. As somebody who tends to talk bad about Chelsea, I'll be 100% honest. I've not had one bad thing to say about them as of recent, because they know what they're doing. I feel like they have a strict transfer policy now. You can see where their club is headed with the development of their team, and I think they're trying to hit that window between the end of Man City and Liverpool's transition and catch them then. I don't think they're ready now, but I think majority of the outrage and everything else is because people are trying to escalate that and make it faster than it actually has to be, and that's just of the culture of UK culture. Seeing Roman Abramovich doing what he's doing, seeing City doing what they're doing, always thinking you're 1, 2, 3 players away from being there. But they could make the biggest change to their team, could be the development of the players they currently have. And that could be what gets them to win a league title. It doesn't always have to be spending 200 million on 4 players.
Yeah. I want to move on from Chelsea to actually go and Staffy, are you welcome, Staffy, the show.
I love how you usually welcome me like 15 minutes after I join.
You come in,
like,
you're looking at
why
your
is he
screen,
not speaking?
You're looking at your screen. You're not even.
But you know what happens? Every time I join late, there's a conversation going on. So number one, I have manners. So I just have to listen first to what the hell's going on. And by 5 minutes where I'm kind of getting, what conversation are we having? Everyone was already chipping in. So I just wait and listen. Then the question goes, why is Staffy not talking? Well, it took me about 10 minutes to kind of get what was going on here. Next time, please just give me an early intro. Be like, hey, by the way, this is what we're talking about right now. Feel free to chime in. But anyways, good morning, everyone. Igal, nice to see you, buddy.
What about them Knicks, Staffy? What about them New York Knicks?
We don't talk about the Knicks since the season ended. This is why I don't see Mo. Now you know why I haven't been here. This is why I haven't been here.
No, let's go to actually.
The Knicks had a good season, man.
If we have excluding Chelsea from the title race next season.
They call me the Igal of the Knicks, by the way.
A lot of people now are talking about the title like that the next season, and Liverpool versus City again, and Arsenal are excluded. Before we go on, guys, it's 1,000 people. Guys, thank you so much, Luke, for telling everyone to like the video. Hit that like button, people. 1,000 people here. Can we get the likes up a little bit, guys? Hit that like button. Who has actually done better in the transfer window at the current moment? Liverpool or Man City?
City.
Oh, I think Liverpool.
Liverpool haven't signed anyone but Frimpong.
It's a sign.
Okay, we got the Verts. Here we go. It's not official, but
no. Hold on. And we know Kirk has already tweeted that he's going to Liverpool. Something like this.
I get that, but I'm being serious here. Official signings.
I am being serious.
Unofficial signings.
Let me get my point across. As of right now, Man City already have their 3 players in the door. They're going to be having them playing the games in the Club World Cup. Surely, the only answer is Manchester City.
It is a gal. It is on literal point, but I think Manchester City were under a rush to have those players available for the Club World Cup because they've got departing players as well, and they need to be actively playing.
It's our fault we don't have games in June.
No. If Liverpool were in the Club World Cup, these deals would probably be wrapped up and announced, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
they probably would. I think it's the same.
Actually, can I tell you guys something that I read in the news, not on Twitter yesterday? That the Liverpool hierarchy, because of the transfer window and how it works, that's what they're doing. They already wrapped up the Verts deal, so they can announce Verts once the window opens, which is in this week. But they can't announce 2 players at once. They need to create. This is PR. They're gonna do Verts. They're gonna give him the time, take pictures, do all the interviews and all the stuff. Then they're gonna announce Gyökeres. Liverpool, as Dan said, are not in a rush to announce all of them at once. They have no players are on holiday. So basically, Liverpool transfer window now is Verts, Gyökeres, and Frimpong. No one is going to tell me otherwise. Gyökeres is joining Liverpool. Everyone knows that. Literally, Bournemouth have went and signed another fullback. They know that he left.
He's gone.
I'm going to ask the question again, rationally. Who has had a better window?
I think we have.
It's both windows are different. City's window has fixed the problems that they had. Our window has sought to strengthen a point which we were already strong at. But it's fixed a weakness. Look, our fullback, we've lost a fullback, a rat, and what the other one's probably on his way out. So we fixed a weakness there. But the big signing is a luxury. It's a guy to help elevate the ceiling rather than lift the floor. City's signings have been to fix the problem they had, which was their midfield was getting ran through. So they've now bought midfielders who are not going to get ran through, and midfielders who can add back to that dynamic. So it comes down to what way you want to look at it. I think Liverpool have upped their ceiling more than City have, but City have picked their floor up. City won't be as bad next year, but Liverpool have the room to be even better now because of the signing of a Florian Wirtz. And, we're still going to be in for a striker, whoever that is. I hope it's not Ekitike, but whoever that is, we just got to wait to sell a couple of players on that front.
I have an answer for somebody in the chat, and I've been seeing this a lot more. So I'm going to get it head on. So this is what some Liverpool fans are saying somewhere in the chat. They're saying just because they have signed Frimpong and Nori is nothing compared to Frimpong in fullbacks. That doesn't make sense. You're telling me somebody who's been in the Premier League and if somebody who's just come out from the Bundesliga, there's a better chance of Ed Nori doing something better in the Premier League because he's been here than somebody who's been in the Bundesliga coming here. He might actually flop. So just stop the comparisons. Just be happy.
Why are we comparing Frimpong to Ed Nori? We've bought a fucking left back.
Thank you very much.
Gyökeres.
This is what I'm saying. So I keep reading that. What's the point of comparing them? That's what I keep saying. What's the point? And they're saying that, Ed Nori is going to not do well, but Frimpong is going to do well because of blah, blah. I was like, how would you know that? The other guy was in this league. He's actually more suited to the league than another guy who's coming from Germany. So I don't get where people are coming from.
Can we establish one thing, Mo? 1 second. Can we establish one thing? Gyökeres and Ed Nori, those deals cancel each other because I believe those are the two best left backs in the league with Cucurella before Dan just gets angry at me. But you can argue those two are two of the best three, okay? So Liverpool got one, City got one. Those two deals, in my opinion, cancel each other. All right, we can move on from that position. I think you can't really compare Frimpong to Ed Nori anyways, because as Tom said, he's a right back compared to a left back. And let's be honest, I'd rather have Ed Nori than Frimpong just because he's been in the Premier League and he's established himself in his position. Frimpong could do that, but that's not the comparison. I said City, but I actually want to bring up something, and I feel like that doesn't get spoken about enough. As much as I like City's transfer window a little bit more, it's a little bit more down to how much they're paying for some of their players. As an example, I don't think Wirtz is 4 times the player Shirky is. That's why when he's 4 times the price, I kind of have an issue with it. Whether I'm wrong or not, that's different. It's just my subjective opinion. One thing I want to highlight about City, though, I think we're completely sleeping on the fact that I think they need defenders, and I don't see them linked with any big name center backs. I don't see them linked with center backs at all. Yes, I think the midfield signings are good. Reinders is a good signing. And obviously, me going to City, I mean, I'm probably the best signing of the season so far. And if you didn't get that joke, then you're missing out. But I think they need center backs.
Didn't they sign 2 defenders in January, Staffy?
Yeah, they did. They did.
But you know what it is, Gal? That it still wasn't good enough for them. They were benching them to still play at Kanji. They were still playing at Kanji over Kusanov and what's his name?
No, they didn't play Kusanov because there was a clause in his deal that if you play 10 games, so they played him 9 exact games, and they just actually removed him because they were going to pay extra millions if they actually played him more than 9 games.
I think Staffy's missing a big part, though. With Ed Nuri now playing left. Sorry, Tom. Let me.
Yeah, for last season only. Only for last season.
Stupid clause.
Yeah, what clause is that?
Bro, Staffy. With Ed Nuri now there, Gavardio can play at centre back. That is a massive.
Gavardio's a shit centre back. Gavardio
he's not. He's good.
Yeah, but a lot of people said he finished the season really well.
With that being one case, and also they also still have a Kanji. They also still have Ake. They also still have Ruben Diaz. Let's not forget they have centre back options. It's not just dependent on John.
Just injured. They were injured.
Yeah, I think they still need centre backs because I don't rate their backline like that.
No, I agree with you, Staffy. I've had that conversation with a few City fans, and I agree with you. I don't think their back line is as good as what they believe it is as a fan base. I really think
more than just their midfield that got ran through last season.
Yeah.
So many times.
And I also think they've struggled with injuries in that area massively. Ake and Stones have barely been reliable as well.
And Akanji.
Yeah.
And Akanji, yeah.
And Akanji looked completely washed.
Maybe maybe if they offload Stones and Ake, they'll go and buy a centre back potentially, unless they believe the two they bought in.
You know that we're playing on injections, right?
Because they were playing as wing fullbacks. They were being dependent on as fullbacks, not straight up centre backs. With them playing as centre backs now that City are going to be buying 2 traditional fullbacks, don't you think they're going to have more than enough squad depth in the centre back position? I could name 5 centre backs that they have.
Because if you pick the centre back all you want, doesn't make you a good centre back all of a sudden. I think some of their centre backs are not good.
Like who?
Stones is washed. Akanji is washed.
Akanji is not washed.
Ruben Diaz and Ake, then what?
He was injured.
Ruben Diaz, Ake, and Gavardio alone. Don't you rate those 3?
No, I don't rate those options. I think Ruben Diaz. I think he could give you good games. Don't get me wrong, but I think he's been a little bit more exposed last season than not. Gavardio, I don't know how good is Gavardio in center back. I'll be honest.
Amazing.
I really don't.
He's fantastic.
I don't know. I think he's fantastic in left back. I just don't know how.
I think he's actually a better. I actually think he's a better center back than actually.
I think you guys are underestimating the issue Man City had last year in the midfield and how that had to play with their defense being so poor. It was not solely down to their center backs being terrible. It had a lot to do with their midfield being ran through on a regular basis. Rodri not being there and the rest of the pieces coming in and out of the team were not good enough. I think Man City going into next season with the midfielders that they have and the centre backs that they have and traditional fullbacks being bought, they're going to be solving a lot of their defensive woes.
But Nouri's not really a traditional fullback though. He's more of a wing back, isn't he?
No, he can also play left back.
There's a huge, but defensively he's a huge liability. Like he is.
Do you guys understand that most of these defenders were playing with injections and half fit? Most of them, and Pep admitted it, that I did play some of these guys while they're injured. I think you guys are judging.
Patrick, what's going to change this season then? Because you're going Club World Cup, you're only going to have more to be like congestion.
But have you noticed the exits are not yet being done now? Like for instance, right now this Club World Cup, we've got Kusanov to play, we've got Josko to play back in there. Since that Norris there, they're looking to get it right back. I'm telling you. You guys will be shocked with this Man City team because a lot of people, I think, which is good, I'm happy because a lot of people told us that we're washed and we want to go anywhere going forward, even with the signings. I think you guys will be shocked by some of them.
That is crazy to suggest.
Yeah, I have seen some people say that these guys are not going to come back. But I don't know, man. Some of these centre backs from City, people keep saying that, but Akanji was one of the best centre backs in the Euro, and Diaz has been stable. I'm just saying they had a bad season.
International tournaments.
They had a bad season. Let's not pretend as if centre backs haven't had a bad season in this league before. You have.
I just think City's signings have done well to fix their problem. Their midfield was crap last year. They've strengthened their midfield. I don't think Gvardiol's a good centre back, but I can hear you to the points. Fullbacks should provide a little bit more balance and give you back an element of unpredictability in your attack. Liverpool. Depending, as it stands right now, we don't have a striker. So I'm going on the basis that we're going to play Wirtz as a false 9 type thing with Szoboszlai. On that basis, Liverpool have fixed their problem, which was they are no longer right-hand side dominant. Last year, Liverpool outright refused to attack down the left because it was Robertson and it was Diaz. They are both worse than the options we had on the right. So we became very predictable towards the back end of the season where teams would double up on Salah and man mark Trent, and therefore they would basically go, give it over to Robertson, give it over to Diaz. We're not worried about them. They won't do much. If you give it to Salah and Trent, we've got them surrounded, so you're fucked. Now, we've got a better fullback on the left in Gyökeres, who can carry the ball better and has a better delivery. And by adding Wirtz to play off the left-hand side as a false 9-10 type thing, we have a threat down the left-hand side, so teams can't afford to double up on Mohamed Salah and leave him free. Therefore, teams have to give Salah the space. So if we want to attack down the left, we've got the threat there. If we want to attack down the right, we've got the threat there. We're a more balanced team. If we get a striker, that changes, obviously. But as it stands right now, I just think we've changed ourselves to be a bit more balanced in terms of how we're going to attack next year. In terms
you're saying going in with Wirtz as a post 9. That's your
confidence. Wirtz and Szoboszlai. The thing is, you know what I'll say about this? We played false 9 all season. Diogo Jota would, if you looked at where Jota picked up the ball, he was on the halfway line most of the time. Luis Diaz was a false 9 whenever he played up front. To say Florian Wirtz will be doing that same job, dropping in to be a creative spark, and then having Gakpo and Salah or Diaz and Salah making the direct runs into the area of the box, whilst having Szoboszlai making late runs, McAllister making late runs, but we've got fullbacks now who can actually get forward and cause problems. It's not an outlandish thing that people are making it out to be. Is it a bit different? Yes. But I don't think it's outlandish. Our best games came when we had this false nine set up because we were able to dominate the ball more because we were able to form boxes. And it freed up Salah to do what he wanted. At the end of the day, Mohamed Salah's on 400 grand a week. He's still the best attacker we've got. Just because we bought Florian Wirtz for the next 2 years, I'm not going to just ostracize Salah and go, no, everything's got to go through my number 10 now. That's the thing, a lot's going to go through Salah. So Wirtz in the false nine means when it goes down his side, he can still do what he wants to do. But we're still going to go through Salah on the right. Whereas if you play him as a 10, everything goes through your 10. So I think when Salah goes in 2 years' time, because he won't get a new contract, that's when Florian Wirtz will go into the 10. And then everything will start flowing through him. But for the next 2 years, I think the whole setup has to be having Wirtz and another 10 alongside him, i.e. Szoboszlai or whoever you want to buy. Szoboszlai can do all the running and the grafting and the covering, and you get Wirtz as the best of both worlds.
Tom, why would you pay that much money? Why would you pay that much money if you're going to wait for that long?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because it's not about waiting. Again, it's not like Florian Wirtz can't do false nine. He has done false nine a number of times.
I personally think
necessarily a false
nine. He'd have been a better fit for City. I actually really think he would have been a better fit for what we know Pep Guardiola's system to be than Liverpool's.
Not saying that he won't do well at Liverpool, and that's
I agree with you then.
Yeah,
I think they should have swapped signings. Rush should have went to City, and Šeško should have went to Liverpool.
Yes, I think we've signed the opposite. Something that Liverpool could have done, we've done it.
I'll be honest.
Everyone here is talking.
Ryan Cherky has no spot in this
is that
team.
everyone here is talking like they're equal. The whole panel is talking like they're equal.
Oh,
they are not equal. Wirtz is better than Cherky. He's more proven than Ryan Cherky.
No, you don't get what we're saying. I think you don't understand what we're saying.
No, but it doesn't matter. Wirtz is a German international that won the league, being the best player in the Bundesliga, above players like Musiala last season and above other players. This season, he has been good as well. He's a German international that starts every game. Ryan Cherky, as good as he is, as good as we see the flicks and tricks, has just had his debut with France. He played for Lyon, that don't win the league. We are talking like they both got. Liverpool got the better player. I agree with Staffy. Is he 4 times the player Cherky is? Does it justify the price? Might not. But we are not equal.
You don't think for the type of player they are that Wirtz
this is what I'm saying.
fits Manchester City more than
no, because on this basis of a swap, my whole point is the closest player we've got to Ryan Cherky in terms of play style is Harvey Elliott, and Harvey Elliott is getting sold because he doesn't fit what we want to do. Wirtz has the good pressing numbers and the good out of possession style. Ryan Cherky is better suited for a team that's going to dominate.
But
Ryan Cherky is better.
Now, you're about to spend 120 million on a player to play him not in the position.
I mean, Dan, I think we're going to get a striker. I think we're going to get a striker, so I think he'll go in the 10. But I'm just going on the basis of right now, we don't have one. We're selling Nunes, Josh's not going to play. So on the basis right now, the only way it's going to work is if we play him and Szoboszlai as a double 10 like we did against Man City.
But we all know. Okay, here's the thing. When we do these conversations, we need to take into account what is being reported. It is publicly reported that Liverpool, even Sami Mukbel on the Football Terrace yesterday said, this is actually a public information for all the journalists. Liverpool are trying to shift Nunes and get a striker. So I'm assuming Liverpool will be successful in doing this.
I just don't know what striker we're going to get. That's the thing.
Yes.
Depending on what striker you get, it changes. So like if we get there's 4 strikers I want. There's 4. For me, I like the double 10 setup. I think it's really good with the wings we've got. So I'd only change that for 4 strikers. Isak, Alvarez, Osimhen, or Retegui. Ekitike, I'm very unsure on because I don't know if he's more of another like.
I think similar to Gakpo. Like I feel
that's the thing, and I don't want to play Gakpo up front. If I wanted to play a Gakpo up front, I'd play Gakpo up front. But I don't.
What was the last name you said?
Retegui from Atalanta.
Okay.
He's had a really good season, to be fair.
He's
you know what? He's like a player that if he's allowed to just only occupy the 18-yard box, he's probably up there with some of the better strikers in Europe right now. Like, he's got
every type of finish. He scored 25 goals this season got 10 with his right, 10 with his left, and 5 with his head.
But Tom, do you not think? Okay, this is where Liverpool's system might actually help him, but he's almost the type of player that needs to be playing with another attacker to take away a defender or something. Allowing
Salah.
Yeah. You mean Ekitike?
No, I mean Retegui.
That's why you've got Salah.
I don't like him.
Exactly.
I don't like him. I don't like him.
The fact we've got that back, we have that 3 behind them.
Yeah,
they're going to make runs. So I think we'd end up playing Retegui as a guy. It's going to sound very stupid, this, and I'm not comparing them as players. In the way Alvaro Morata should have been played for years is how we should play Retegui. Not a guy to run in behind, a guy to play into, play off of.
He's the perfect second striker in a typical 4-4-2 or a diamond.
Don't you guys think
you have one striker that occupies everyone, and then
I think we're going to end up with Wirtz or so. What you end up, Wirtz will be a bit left side dominant, and Salah, because we've got now a right back who wants to, because Trent didn't overlap in the last years. So Frimpong wants to get dead high up that pitch. That's naturally going to push Salah in and closer to the striker. So Retegui is going to
you don't like the likes of Sesko and Gyökeres and all these
guys. Whichever club signs Benjamin Šeško has had their pants pulled down. Gyökeres is a little bit more.
I actually admire the level of hate you have towards Sesko.
I cannot stand Benjamin.
Can you explain why? Can you explain why you think this?
Every time I watch Benjamin Šeško,
y'all don't do that. Your team Gyökeres now. Don't do a Gilbert Arenas.
They're not.
One
second. I just want to make it clear. I have always wanted Gyökeres, but I think my club's going to end up signing Sesko.
I thought it was Watkins at the start.
Just don't do the Gil Arenas. I don't want to see you put on the jersey.
You want me to show you the news? You want me to show you the news?
I believe it, Mo. You don't need to show me. I believe
show me. Honestly.
Let's hear why he hates Sesko. I want to know.
Every single time I have watched Benjamin Šeško, I just see Benfica.
Why is Patrick getting attacked but not?
I just see another striker who has the exact same flaws that Darwin Núñez does. I want a striker that can finish. And Benjamin Šeško, if you go look at his goal catalogue, it is not good finishes. It is good strikes. Benjamin, for what I think any top team needs, they need a striker who you give them a half chance in the box and they'll bury you. Benjamin Šeško scores 10 goals a season, and 7 of them come from outside the box. If you put Benjamin Šeško in a one-on-one situation, if you put Benjamin Šeško in the situation where you need your striker to finish, more often than not, he misses.
So let me ask you something.
A long shot from 40 yards out. He's got more chance of scoring. And actually, got really good ball striking, but that's not what a top striker should be.
Tom, let me ask you something on that before we move on.
And picks the corner.
He's only scored 3
so let me ask you something, because I think you're spot on with that. You are spot on with that. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. I saw a few comps from Sesko, and not necessarily good ones. There was some lowlights as well. I'm not gonna lie. Tom is a little bit spot on, because some of his worst finishing actually came from 1v1 situations, and that's actually a very alarming.
Yeah,
thing.
He's very poor. He's very poor.
Like, you can score from outside the box, but on 1v1 situations, you actually make a lot of bad decisions. But here's my question to Tom: how much improvement do you think a player like him at that age needs? Just to give me a percentage. Obviously, nothing too accurate.
I
that he needs to improve on to become a top striker.
I can tell you exactly what he needs to do. Someone needs to get him a psychologist who can help him work through the trauma that means he can't score one-on-ones. You get through that trauma, bang, good striker.
It doesn't sound like the worst situation in the world, Tom. That's the point that I'm trying to tell you. And it does sound like Darwin Núñez, I'll be honest. It sounds like we're talking about Darwin Núñez again. So you're probably right.
It is Darwin Núñez. It is Darwin Núñez 2.0.
Because Darwin Núñez did everything.
You're not saying I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I never believed it until Darwin Núñez existed. And people are now trying to buy new Darwin Núñez, Slovenian Darwin Núñez. I don't want people to experience what I've had to experience for 4 years, trying to convince myself every day that the striker I spent 80 million quid on will eventually become good once he gets through the trauma in his head of pitching out the corner when one-on-one with a goalkeeper. Also, Sesko's link of play isn't necessarily great, and
he's never going to cost 80 million pounds.
You don't think RB Leipzig are going to get 80 million quid for Benjamin Šeško?
How much do you think?
Okay. Whoever signed Sesko,
go for in a region of 67 million pounds.
Yeah. No, I think.
Yeah, he will. Definitely.
That's around
Leipzig
75
missed out on
million
European football.
I hate to break it to you, Gal, but when Liverpool signed Darwin Núñez, we also paid an opening £67 million. So there's too many similarities here, mate. If I were you, I'm speaking to someone who's experienced this before. Don't do it.
Don't do it, Miguel. Go for Gyökeres. Go for the guy who scores the goals.
Would you rather
I
sign?
hear you. I hear you.
Wait, they're demanding 90
I'm
million.
sitting here vouching for Sesko.
It says
I'm
they're
not doing
demanding
that.
90 million. Where did you
I'm
get
just
the
simply
price?
saying, I think if you say the mentality issue is that he's young, he hasn't proven it, I agree. The main issue I have is Gyökeres. He's looking at Arsenal saying, I want to come to you guys, and I think I can take you to another level. Where Sesko's coming to Arsenal being like, I don't know if I can challenge Havertz. That's what he was saying last year. So I right away am worried about that, because when I'm hearing from top journalists talking about Sesko saying he turned down the deal last year because he wasn't confident he would overtake Havertz, what makes him think he's going to come now a year later and overtake Havertz? I want somebody with the mentality that they're coming to the club saying, I want the number 9 shirt, because that's what Gyökeres said when he was speaking with the club. Apparently, a journalist coming out saying both reports. One reporting saying they want the number 9 shirt, other one saying they're worried about challenging for their spot. That right there tells me which one I need to sign. I'm not even looking at their goals. I'm not even looking at their previous performances. I'm just looking at their mentality. I want somebody coming into the club with the mentality that they're going to get us a goal no matter what. And I'm not doing this comparison to other players, but some of the goals Gyökeres scores, we need that. We need a fighter.
Mm-hmm.
We need somebody who's going to fight for every other chance.
Staffy thinks Ekitike is better than Gyökeres.
I don't care who anybody thinks. I don't care.
You're
I don't care
lucky I've got to go now,
people.
Staffy. Otherwise,
I don't
you for
care.
the second
I don't
season
care
stuff.
about what people
About the
think about
football
better or
one, be
worse.
a little bit more respect than that.
Every single one of these strikers has a level of risk. Every single one of these strikers has strong suits that people are gonna like.
There's no level of risk with Gyökeres. I'll be honest. You know what you're getting with Gyökeres. You know what I don't trust with that Gyökeres deal, Igal? I just don't trust your manager. I know exactly what your manager is going to do. He's going to bring him in and he's going to play him a style that's completely different than what he's been doing already. The guy is so obviously a one-trip pony, but he's so good at his trip that if you can keep him doing the same thing, there's no problem. My issue is he's going to buy him and he's going to try to play him like a box striker and all these set pieces and all this bullshit. And then he's not going to do what he was doing at Sporting. Everyone's going to sit there and say, oh, why did he flop? Why did Arsenal pay all that money for him? It's because I don't trust your manager. I don't think your manager coaches attackers really well. I don't think he gets the best out of your attackers. Bar that one season where I think that was like Jesus' first season, you had a fluid front line and he scored a lot of goals.
Hang on.
Just season, I don't think
he
coaches
hasn't done bad
well.
with his. He hasn't done bad with his attackers because
the last
he's
2
got
seasons.
decent numbers.
Hold on, I want to hear what Dan. Hold on, I want to hear what Dan.
But I have to reply. The last 2 seasons.
I want to. Dan, I know Dan is going to mention names. I know that. Go ahead, Dan. Just the names.
All I was going to say again, and you're more than welcome to respond to this, is I think that he's done well with Havertz, better than what Havertz did at the team before he was signed, because Havertz didn't put up those numbers at Chelsea. And he also got an incredibly good tune out of Mikel Moreno when he played in the forward position. So I don't think it's fair to say, actually, on Arteta, and this isn't me standing for Arteta saying he's the best thing since sliced bread. I just think he actually has got good numbers out of his attackers. And I think Gyökeres would only do...
He got to respond now. Right? He got that.
Okay, but now he's going to respond to a different point, and some points are going to get ignored.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. There was no point of Dan responding if we can't go back and forth on it for a second. Yeah, like what was the point of doing that? Okay, so I hear what Dan is saying, and I think that's a good challenge. There's a huge difference, in my opinion, when you talk about getting the best out of Marino and Havertz, than when you sign a big money striker that Gyökeres is going to be, and he's going to be the main man up top. All right, Marino. I think what Marino did in the striker position is something that he already does from the midfield position, but obviously on a higher scale because now he spends more time going up front. I watch him enough, even with Spain, where I'm like, you know what? I actually think Marino is a very good box crasher. He does have a little bit of a striker instinct in him. So him getting goals in that front line now to me doesn't seem so surprising because I watch enough of a sample size where I'm like, you know what? Fair play. He does know how to get in position where he scores goals, and he does that with Spain. For me, Havertz is a little bit more of a different situation. He didn't even sign him to play him up front. He signed him to play him in the midfield. If he put him up front and it kind of worked, there's so many layers on why that happened. I feel like there's a big element of unpredictability with it. The fact that he was supposed to be a midfielder, then he went up front. That to me, that's different than saying, I'm signing Gyökeres. I know what Gyökeres does very well up front, and I'm going to play to it. What Gyökeres does, and I've watched enough footage for me to understand what Gyökeres does. Gyökeres loves running down that left-hand side. He was a left winger a little bit earlier in his career, so he has that instinct in him. He likes to drift wide. He's very good at beating you with pace. He doesn't do anything too like fancy and too flashy. That's why I called him a one-trick pony. It's not a bad thing to be a one-trick pony.
Yeah, but
Robin was a one-trick pony and ended up being one of the greatest right wings in the world. My point is then, Arteta's going to put him in this team, and I don't think he'll coach an attack in an attacking way where he enables those best strength.
Yeah, but Havertz,
if
you'd have watched Havertz at Leverkusen, you would have never suggested that he'd be scoring the type of goals that he did at Arsenal, because it was a completely different system, a completely different style of play. The same with Mourinho.
Okay, so
you would have never watched Mikel Moreno. Yeah, but you would have never watched Mikel Moreno at Sociedad and said, "Oh wow, if you stick him up front, he's going to go 1 in 2 as a striker till the end of the season." So how do you know that if he plays Gyökeres there, who is used to a different system, that he won't be able to work in Arteta's system? I think
don't know that. Obviously, I don't know that. I'm just suggesting that's what I think is going to happen, because I look at how he treats his front line. I don't think he gets the best out of Saka. I think Saka under a more attacking coach, I think he doesn't get the best out of Saka. Look at y'all's face.
The best we've seen Saka play is under this manager. It's not for England.
Yeah, but I hear what Staffy said. What Staffy is saying is basically Saka can do actually more than what we're watching now.
Exactly.
Right. We have no proof of that, though, do we? I know.
It's a feeling. It's a feeling when you watch a player.
Let me give you guys some facts. First of all, in the Premier League over the last 3 seasons, Arsenal have been getting goal tallies up there with some of the best in the league. By the last 2 seasons before last season, we finished second both times with the top most goals scored in the league, and last year we finished third.
Such an irrelevant stat.
As for the actual players in the team, with Jesus constantly injured, Havertz who's playing from midfield and striker, we've had no significant striker for the consistency of the entire season. So for you to say, "Oh, I don't trust the manager," maybe it's because you've not seen a consistent striker being played.
You're missing the point. You're missing the point.
No, I hear Igale's point.
Number 2,
and number 9, yeah.
Yeah, but no, I think that missing
number 2.
Point.
One second, guys, please. Let me finish, and then
let you finish.
And then finally, when you talk about underperforming players, last season the whole attack underperformed because the team had issues. The years before that, you would not have said this, because 2 years ago we had guys like Martinelli scoring 15 goals. We had Havertz, we had Jesus scoring double-digit goals, Saka scoring double-digit goals, Odegaard scoring double-digit goals, and even Xhaka getting in double digits in all competitions. That was more than 5 players getting double-digit goals. Last season, the season before that, we also had a similar situation. We had multiple players outperforming the XG and getting up there in the top goals tallies. You had Kai Havertz and Saka both in the top of the league for GA. And it was just last year, which was an outlier season, where a majority of the players underperformed due to injuries or just a whole attack underperforming and having to depend on so many other pieces. There was a point in the season, Staffy, where we had to rely on a front 3 of Ethan, Sterling, and Trossard. You cannot say it's the manager underperforming with the players. It was the players were in and out of the team and not getting enough opportunities due to that main issue. I don't think the manager's a problem here. I think what he's done with Kai Havertz and Mikel Moreno shows me that if you give him Gyökeres, Sesko, anybody in this team that gets a good running, they're going to perform. We create enough chances for any striker. It's not the manager's problem.
Right? Just to elaborate on your point, because you're spot on. In how I believe Arteta's worked with his strikers, the difference of Havertz changing to become a striker and Mourinho changing to become a striker is far smaller with a Gyökeres than it was for Havertz and Mourinho to make that transition. So surely it's even easier for Gyökeres to make the adaptations to Arteta's system, because that's his natural role.
So tell me some of these adaptations, because listen, I hear what Igal's saying. By the way, you could still be in a poor front line and overperform your XG. Just look at Haaland's first season. He still did poor, but he overperformed his XG. So that's a stat that really doesn't give me the answer that I'm looking. No, hold on. I'm just saying, like, individually, some of these things can happen, and I can still look at the front line and be like, you know what? It could be coached a little bit better. I look at Arteta, and I think he's more of a defensive coach than an attacking coach, which is why I said I don't think he caters to his front line as much as he does in other positions. And that's not a dig at him.
It's just I think he is as a manager. Or he utilizes the strength of the team.
Sure, and the strength of the team, if the strength of your team is not the front line, then I could still be right with what I'm saying. This is not a diss. This is who I think he is. All right. I want you to tell me how Gyökeres comes in and with the way that he plays, you think the manager is going to integrate him? Because I feel like he's going to have him doing a lot of defensive work, cracking back like he likes to have Saka doing and Martinelli doing and all your attackers are doing. And I don't think he's the style that Arsenal play right now, especially with the defensive level in the Premier League. I don't know how he's going to bring him in.
But
and he's going to be able to strengthen that a little bit more. I don't think.
Let me answer your question very simple. First things first, we currently don't have a focal point through the middle. We don't play through the middle. We are the team that plays the least through the middle in the league.
I know.
Right? That one gives us another focal point of somebody we can pass the ball to. I'm not saying back to goal. I'm saying slide the ball in from angles, using the half spaces to pass the ball into angles where he can get into the end of those chances. Because those are a lot of the opportunities that are created for our forwards, which they do not take. He's also two-footed, so he's better equipped to scoring from either of those situations. Also, with Saka or whichever winger or fullback we get a lot of cutbacks. No striker in our team is ever in the box with the proper movement to get to the end of those chances. Look at the game versus PSG. Look at the game versus Newcastle. Look at the games throughout the season where Saka or any other forward would cut the ball across the box and there'd be nobody in the box to get to those chances. I think that would be another situation where a proper striker would get better opportunities.
He's not a box striker, and that's the point.
And then finally, when you're talking about what would we do, we're very slow as a team. But the reason why we're very slow is because of how our players are constructed. With Gyökeres, it allows us to have more pace in our counters. It allows us to have more pace when we have.
Are you talking about Gyökeres or Sesko? I'm confused. Gyökeres or Sesko?
Gyökeres.
No, we're talking about Gyökeres right now.
Gyökeres. Gyökeres is actually one of the best final third passing strikers in the world, and this would also then open up more chances for the likes of Saka.
He's really not. He's really not.
No,
he actually has.
I looked at the statistics. Statistically,
what is the statistics saying? Because
he creates 2.5 chances as a striker per game. Not many strikers do that.
You know, he averages less passes into the box than Højlund.
That is not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about passes. I'm talking about production, end product, actually making chances.
Well, an assist like the way you describe it has to be a pass in the box.
Højlund might do more passes, but Højlund is not getting at the end of more passes where he's actually helping his team get goals.
No, we're talking about the creative part right now. We're not talking about finishing because you're saying.
Can I give you a stat that I just checked related to Astafi? Over the last 3 seasons, I just actually checked that Arsenal are actually 5th or 6th in big chances created. Above them are City, Liverpool, Newcastle, Arsenal. Chelsea as well. Like, you have floated between 5th and 6th in creating chances. I think that is what Staff is saying. Like Arteta, you outperform with XG. Yes, you score a lot of goals, but you actually don't create that many chances in the league in comparison.
Because
and Mo, that stat, once again, that stat, okay.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that before now, actually.
It's a little bit flawed because
that stat
doesn't also tell us.
Over the last 3 seasons that we challenged, like last season before, and season before.
I don't know how many of these big chances, Mo, are created due to set pieces and corners, which I'm not downplaying before anyone cries. It's not Gyökeres' best ability. Like, bro, he doesn't. So as an example, he doesn't score with his head. He rarely gives you a header, and we all know that Arsenal is that team. Yeah. So if you start playing a lot of balls, just slump him forward into the box, you're kind of wasting what he's good at. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know what Gyökeres is good at, and my point is, I don't know. Like, first of all, I don't even think you have the right left wing to play with him. I think you need a left winger that likes to cut into the box that he could play off. Whether you drag a defender so he can get the space, or he can play a pass to you. I don't think you have the left winger for it. So that's another issue that I have. Are you going to give him a good
let me give you the stat. Let me give you the stat. So Arsenal, just not this season before, we challenged City. You were 5th in the big chances created, right? Like behind Newcastle, Liverpool, Man City, and Chelsea. However, you scored 91 goals. Only 5 goals behind City. The season before that, you are 6th behind Man United. However, you scored 88 goals, while Man United only scored 58 goals. So you basically you're behind them, but you scored way more goals than them. You scored 30 more goals. This past season, the season that is finished, Arsenal are 5th behind the likes of Aston Villa, Man City, Chelsea, and Liverpool. And you only scored 69 goals. Only 3 goals behind City, who created only 4 big chances than you. I'm not sure how to interpret it, to be honest. This is from FotMob. I don't know how to interpret that situation.
The reason why that is because we would pass up a lot of chances, which I think Newcastle would take shots at. Manchester United would take shots at. You know what I mean? Arsenal would pass up a lot of these chances for a better chance.
We don't shoot, brother. I promise you that.
I would see over the last 3 seasons, I would see Arsenal have numerous opportunities where they could have taken a chance, but they made an extra pass or they made another pass. And there's been times where we walked the ball into the back of the net, or we took a shot from what do you call it, the best opportunity, rather than taking the first shot from Odegaard. He makes an extra pass. That's why I think these stats are a little bit skewed, because we are creating more chances, but the chances had to lead to a shot. And sometimes we're not.
I'm not sure how to interpret. Let me do this super chats before we actually forget it. Let's not forget that City didn't have Rodri the whole season. Think City is taking the title again. There's a lot of people that saying just Rodri being back.
Think so. I think they'll be there, but I don't think they'll take it right away. I feel like a lot of people forgetting the first season City tax.
Liverpool.
Remember, we always said over the years, players need one good year under almost said Arteta, under Pep, until they actually start understanding what he wants from them in that team.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you something else. Before I move on to the next subject, I'm so surprised that no one is giving Arsenal a chance, even when Gyökeres said that he prefers Arsenal. Like no one has given Arsenal a chance. Like no one has.
Even have Zubamendi.
They actually have Zubamendi, right? Right. They might, like Gyökeres said that I prefer Arsenal. Arsenal can go tomorrow and sign Gyökeres, and everyone is not giving them a chance of winning the title at all.
Mo, the rational answer is simple. We are a team that have struggled to get over the line. That is the reality. And until we get over the line, people will not believe we can do it. And we need to go and sign players that have the capability and the mentality to help us get over the line. That's why I want Rodrigo. That's why I want Gyökeres. That's why I want players who have won things to come into this team and be like, you know what? This is how winning is done. And if we don't go and sign those winners, and we sign Sesko and we sign friggin', I don't know, what's his name? The guy from Brentford. Brighton. What's his name? Semenyo. If we sign Semenyo and Sesko, I honestly don't believe the team is serious. And we're not looking at winning. We're looking at just continuously being cheap or continuing to find project players. And to me, that would be a failure as an organization, as a club, to even address the issues that we have with players who are that inexperienced and that much of a risk.
What if there's a mix between the two, right? So you get Gyökeres, but then you don't get a Rodrigo and you get a Semenyo. What do you think then? Is that enough? Like, do you think that's enough for Arsenal?
Rodrigo and Gyökeres.
No, if we get Sesko and Rodrigo, that would be the perfect balance. But if you
say that doesn't happen and you get a Semenyo and a Gyökeres, or a Sesko and a decent left winger who's
you're putting all your eggs on Rodrigo. What if Rodrigo says I'm staying at Real Madrid? You give up?
I'm willing to take that risk. I'm willing to take the risk. I'm willing to take the risk. 1 second. I'm willing to take the risk that if we don't get Rodrigo, we'll be left with having to pivot to Eze. That is what I'm willing to take.
Is that enough to win the
league? Because I don't want the club to go and do and have a brain fart in the left wing position. The left wing position has to be somebody who can be clutch, who can be a game changer, who can get us a goal.
Give me names.
I just simply want one of two players. Get me Rodrigo or get me Eze. Simple.
That's it.
If you
it's two different profiles,
two different profiles.
So if it's not on the move,
but the thought process is you get me a goal scoring left winger, or you get me a left winger who can also pivot and play in the midfield when needed. Also, that is what I'm saying. And either way, one is of the quality to show that he's at the top level winning Champions League. The other one is also of the quality in the Premier League, and he's shown that he can be a game changer. I don't want none of this stuff about all these other random players. If you're going to bring me Bakayoko, he better be a backup for Saka and not the starting left winger. If you're going to be bringing me somebody else, they better be of the quality to come into this league and tell me they can raise our levels. No more sideways steps. No more squad depth players to try to improve the squad. Get me level raisers in those two key areas.
But what if they're not available on the market? What if Rodrigo says I'm staying at Real Madrid and Semenyo is like...
Rodrigo says he's staying at Real Madrid, so be it. But Mo, if he is about to leave, Arsenal has to be in front of the queue saying, here's the money.
You could say in that, but literally what Dan's question is, if Rodrigo says I'm staying, which is a very plausible situation.
You pivot to Eze.
I'm not gonna lie, you
And
the
is that
difference
enough,
between
though?
Eze
Is
and
it
Rodrigo
enough
is
to
way too
get
much.
Sorry, is it enough to get Eze and Gyökeres and then be confident that that's enough to win you the league?
We need 2 attacking players that have the quality that can get us over the line.
Right.
And I think getting Eze would be much better and a much safer pick than some of the other names I'm hearing. I don't think Lookman will translate as well outside of a Gasparini system. I don't trust
Leao. I love Leao.
I don't trust Leao as much as I trust Rashford. I think Rashford.
Come on.
No, hold on.
And I'm being honest.
You would be lucky. You'd win the league if you had Rashford of 2 years ago. And that's here. So don't sit here and say that about Leao.
Same thing with Leao of 2 years ago.
Leao can change your team right now.
I'm saying Leao
if
and
Chelsea get Leao, they will
are very similar players because on their day they can be Mavericks and they can win you a game, but at the same time they can go through droughts that can cost the team consistently. And I've seen it from them. The only players I want Arsenal to sign is players like Rodrigo, who've shown it that they can do it in the clutch moments for Real Madrid in the league and in the Champions League, or a player like Eze, who's shown me he can consistently perform in the Premier League in multiple positions that can raise our levels of our squad.
Okay, are they good enough numbers-wise, though, those 2 players? Because I feel like there's a lot of question. Okay, I feel like there's a lot of question marks around Arsenal and Martinelli and not being good enough numbers-wise. But hasn't he put up better numbers than those 2 players this season?
Or something? I'm looking at Rodrigo as a potential Alexis Sanchez type situation where he comes into an Arsenal team where he's given more freedom. He's given more freedom.
I hear you on that. I think that's a valid point. I think he comes out of the shadows.
In his preferred position, where at Real Madrid he's not playing in his preferred position.
Yeah. Let me just do these couple of substitutes. Zain here is saying Liverpool didn't have big injuries in key positions last season. The centre back and centre mid depth is bang average. City and Arsenal have better depth in these positions. Now Liverpool in midfield, they have Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones,
Elliott's going, isn't he?
Yeah, but they're gonna so they still have Curtis Jones, they still have Wirtz, they still have McAllister.
They've got good strength in depth in midfield, though. Liverpool,
yes,
they definitely do.
They definitely do. In the centre back
is a bit questionable, isn't it?
Very but I think if you talk about what he's saying.
Because if say Van Dijk gets injured, that defense looks a little bit
That's what I'm saying. And people keep saying City, Arsenal, this, but Liverpool,
guys,
one guy gets injured, that's it. They're done.
Liverpool, don't write them off. Don't write them off.
No one's writing them off.
I'm having them as favourites, again. I'm having them as favourites.
If Van Dijk stays fit, we know that he can win that league on his own.
A lot of centre backs. The midfield, they with Florian Wirtz now, they have a different type of midfield. They could
that centre backs again.
We didn't. Okay, guys, I need to give 5 minutes on Man United.
I still think Liverpool squad depth is there.
Why do we have it?
That's what I'm saying.
I need 5 minutes on Man United.
I just want to say this. We cannot say if Van Dijk or Salah get injured because that applies to everybody. You lost Rodri, you fell off a cliff. We lost Saka and we fall off a cliff. It's just how it is.
We don't need to speak about Man United.
Yeah, but what's been proven, right?
Nobody can win the league when one of their best players is out for.
Yes, but Agal, what has been proven with that, and it's the old Harry Kane analogy that these teams now should learn that if they're going to be so reliant on a player, their backup has to be good enough. City learnt in January they had to go and bring in backup in terms of a midfielder to be good enough for Rodri. Arsenal probably learnt that without certain players this season, they had issues and they probably need to go and strengthen in those areas. Liverpool should have already learnt that when they lose Van Dijk, they've got issues. I don't think they've learnt that lesson yet by what they've done in the transfer market. Also, incredibly difficult to go and tempt a good enough player to not be first choice and be battling out for that position. But it is possible to do. And I always say this, if you go and sign that player and you create that competition in the squad, it only ups the level of the squad.
Let me do this. What Liverpool games is Tom watching? We will sign a forward if the donkey goes, which looks likely. Wirtz is placed as a 10, which is I think Slot will also do. That is Agash what we have been saying. Nathan is saying, do we need to buy a striker to fit our system, or change our system to the striker we buy. We all know it's easier to match the system.
What striker exists out there right now that is like perfect for Arteta's system? Because I personally don't see it. No, I don't think it's as plug as I think any striker that comes in to Arsenal, there'll be some better and worse at adapting, but they're all going to have to learn because I think Arteta's system is like incredibly unique to just Arteta. I don't think there's a number of managers
playing cater to attackers.
Arteta has catered to many attackers. He's catered to Havertz.
He has, but they all have to adjust to his system, though, don't they? He doesn't change his system.
He's catered to Martinelli. He's changed the team to a front two. He changed the team to a front two last year when he had Havertz and Trossard. Staffy, come on, man. Let's not do this.
Tony here is saying unpredictability, but it's been 2 seasons up top for Kai Havertz. Yeah, that's what Igala said. But the last season he was injured. We'll see, Tony, if he can. If next season starts and Havertz is the main striker for us, I think people lose their shit.
He's going to start the first game.
A healthy Arsenal equal the best team in the league. That's what Carmelo Morales is saying.
No,
really?
I think a healthy Arsenal starting 11 rivals all the other teams. That's probably.
How can you be the best if you haven't won the league? Shush, Carmelo.
No, but banter aside, Arsenal starting 11 against Liverpool's and Chelsea's is against Liverpool, Chelsea, City is better than all of yours.
No, it's not.
Yes, I think.
Oh my god! Oh my god! I think
it's close, Agal, and I don't want to do disjustice to your point because it is close.
No, that's what I'm saying. His super chat means.
I don't think it's the best.
That's what his super chat means.
A healthy Arsenal means all players available and fit, doesn't it?
Yeah, so starting 11 versus starting 11.
You don't have anyone in your front line that is capable of generating the numbers that either Salah or Haaland can do for Liverpool. No, you don't.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. Saka was on pace. Saka was on pace.
No, you've been so rational today. You've been so rational today.
No.
Hold on. I want to hear what is your reason to say that. Hold on, Igal. Tell me why do you think that? What is your
Saka GA wise is up there with Mo Salah and Haaland if he doesn't get injured.
No, they both.
Hold on. That's an assumption. That's an assumption.
Saka just what do you call it? 2 years ago got 25 GA. Last season.
Okay, Salah and Haaland have doubled that.
The season before that got 25 GA, and this season in the first 10 games. In the first 10 games,
he's got 11 GA.
In the first 10 games, he had 11 GA.
Yeah, but
he was on pace.
So I will argue. Can I challenge that quickly? Can I challenge that?
Let me finish, and then everyone can interrupt. Saka was on pace to have 30 plus GA this season easily in the league.
Okay, great. I'm going to tell you this. Okay, I'm going to tell you this. You're assuming that Saka, who started the season the first 10 games, to have 11 GA. That is fine to assume that. But we have seen many players in the Premier League history who start the season with 10 goals in 10 games. That doesn't mean that they're going to end the season with 38 goals. That never happened, right? Until we see Saka doing it consistently for 38 games and getting 40 plus GA, which is what Haaland and Salah does, I'm going to assume that Saka is between a 25 to a 35 GA, not a 40 plus GA. That is what the rationale would say you got. I get you.
How much GA did Haaland have last season?
He was injured.
At least that. Well, no, probably not many assists. So what,
25 GA.
25?
Last season he had a poor year, and he had the same amount of GA as Saka the last 2 seasons.
So that's his bad year to Saka's
his bad year. That's Saka's best. See the difference in talking?
Saka had his best season this season cut short because he was about to go crazy.
Exactly. So that is an assumption.
Has Saka shown durability, right? This is the first season this season where his injury was so bad it meant that he wasn't able to play, right? Like for a long period of time. Other than that, he's shown durability, and he's never even got close to that. Salah has been incredibly durable and has put up ridiculous numbers.
Salah has done it twice.
Yeah,
Salah has done it twice.
Haaland's put up 3 seasons of better GA than that.
And when we talk about exceptional GA, we're not talking about 30 GA. Palmer got 30. We're talking 40. Hold on, let me just finish that. We're talking about 40 plus GA, an exceptional season that will win your team the league. A 40 plus GA single-handedly wins your team. I don't think there is any player that will get a 40 plus GA and their team will not win the league. No, I don't think that is happening. If Saka gets 40 plus GA, your team wins the league, because that is arguably top 5 best seasons ever from any player, right?
Okay,
In
stop.
Saka, you tell me, I want you to sit here and tell me that Saka is a 40 plus GA season. I'm talking that is Henry's level. That is Alan Shearer's level.
No,
I'm talking low 30s. You guys are talking about 40.
Low 30s is a lot of people have done that.
Understand that majority of the seasons that Salah and Haaland have are not the outlier seasons where they get 40.
Yeah, but I don't. Again, on its own,
And
that
I'm
isn't
only-
enough. By the way, to be we have to go back to what the question was. That
Yes.
no one in your front line is good enough to be considered a player that would get into like the best team in the league and a healthy
The
team.
Salah
or
and
whatever.
Haaland numbers.
Yes.
Yeah,
Bukayo Saka is.
it's just not happening.
No. Stop for 1 second.
No, he's not.
Hear me out.
Okay, I might hear you.
It's Bukayo Saka on a consistent basis.
Okay, say he gets
And
30.
going
Say he gets 30.
going forward,
Havertz gets
I
20.
think we'll
That's
be
50
in the region.
2 players. Martinelli gets 10. That's 60 GA combined across your whole front line. Manchester City and Liverpool are doing better than that.
All right. The last 3 seasons, the 2 seasons where he was fit, he had 25 plus GA. Can we
Great,
be
that's a great thing.
Can we
Really good, Agal. They look really good numbers.
Can we acknowledge that you guys don't think that Bukayo Saka can get to 30?
No,
we're not
absolutely,
saying
he can
that.
get
We're
30.
saying he
That
can't
is-
get to
brilliant.
35,
This
50.
is where there's a disconnect between what we are saying to each other. I am talking about Bukayo Saka getting to 30 to 35 GA
Yeah, that's
on a
doable.
consistent basis.
he
And
does that,
I
Agal.
think Bukayo Saka would sustain that throughout a 3-4 year period. Now
Okay.
Mo Salah, over these past couple of years, don't get me wrong, he has been outstanding, but there has been outlier seasons where he got 40 plus. Majority of those seasons, he was in the region of 30.
Oh, okay, I hear what you're saying.
Now you guys,
But then he
are-
also had
you guys-
Sadio
one
Mane
second,
in the
let me
same
finish,
front
please.
line and Roberto
This is
Firmino.
very
putting up
yeah,
important.
okay.
This is very important.
Now
I am
the
not-
disconnect
I
will
am in
happen.
no
Yes.
way. I am in no way saying he is going to replicate Mo Salah's 50 GA in a season. I'm no way saying he's going to replicate Mo Salah and Haaland's 40 plus GA in a season.
Okay.
I'm simply saying the main thing is consistently Mo Salah and Haaland have been in and around 30 GA in the league. And I think
Yes.
Saka can be in and around 30 GA in the league.
That's fair enough.
Simple.
I think that's very fair.
Okay, and then you have to look at the rest of the front lines.
So we're
that these
talking
two
about-
teams
yes.
have, and they're even better than that, Agal, because they'll have multiple players capable of doing that. You don't have multiple players all capable of getting close to like Salah's number or
Can I challenge you on
20
this
and
then?
above. Yeah.
Nobody, so no, and apart from the Liverpool with Firmino and Sadio Mane, Man City didn't have any player with
They
like
had De Bruyne.
25
They had De Bruyne. De
as a
Bruyne probably
midfielder.
got-
Oh, yeah, as a
That's what I'm
midfielder. not a
saying.
front
He's
line.
putting up numbers that are so good that Arsenal
Oh.
don't have another player after
Arsenal,
that.
actually, Arsenal fans, from me talking to Arsenal fans, they think that they believe that
They also had
Odegaard can
Foden,
go.
by the way, put up
Yeah.
better numbers.
No,
than what Salah-
not 25. They believe,
No?
Arsenal fans believe that if they get a striker of the likes of Gyökeres, he will get 25 GA, right? If they get Odegaard can go back to be a 25 GA. That is what Arsenal fans believe.
Do you know
I
what I want to
understand.
know what I believe?
You don't believe that your team will win the
Mo,
league
he
anyway.
had 27
This is what I
combined
believe.
GA. By the
I
way,
believe
Foden
we
two
go and
seasons
sign
ago.
2 forwards. Dan,
Which season? Last season, yes.
23,
Hold on,
24.
Dan. The reason why Arsenal are
That's
buying
better-
That's the season.
That's better than Salah. Than Saka on his own.
Yeah. He's
Mo,
Phil
And
one
he
player of
was-
the season.
He
Then he
would
won.
have been considered
Exactly,
like
right.
behind Haaland that season in terms of
This
goals
is the
scored
season
and
where
that.
he
Dan,
won
Dan,
the player of the year, right?
Dan and Mo. Dan and Mo, the reason why Arsenal are going out to get a striker and to go and get another left winger is because they deem that their attack is not good enough to win
Oh,
us
yeah.
the league.
Okay, so we all
So
agree
why-
then. We're
so
all
why-
in agreement
So
here.
why,
Yeah, thank you.
So why are you
We're all
guys
in agreement
worried
then.
about what's currently there? Because the whole reason why we're looking to go and get 2 more pieces.
No,
is
because you
what's
don't
currently
have that
there is
yet,
not good
Agal.
enough.
Because the point that was made, that Carmelo made, is a healthy Arsenal is the best team in the league. A healthy
Hello.
Arsenal doesn't yet have a striker that's capable of putting up those numbers, or a left winger that's capable of putting up those
Because
My
numbers.
his
point
yes,
is-
that's true. Like, hold on.
My point is a healthy Arsenal
Hold
is still amongst the best in the league.
on. No,
And
when
it's
no
the
one
team.
disagrees.
But
No
they're not
one
the best
disagrees.
team. This
Team
is
for
best
team.
team.
Team for team, I think a healthy Arsenal versus a healthy Man City versus a healthy Liverpool, we're very
It's
close to each
competitive.
other.
It's
And
really
don't act
competitive.
Don't
but
act
it
like
isn't the
Liverpool
best.
is better than us.
All
Don't
on the
act like
same
City
page.
is better than
Can
us.
we
We just
read this?
spent
Are we
12
reading this
minutes
though?
to find
This
out we're on the
best
same
team in the league.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Bro,
We're all-
I think 11 versus
You're
11
really
versus
putting
11.
your money's worth.
I think 11 for 11. City have better squad depth than us. Liverpool have one
Hang
player.
on, you said 11-11, but City have better squad depth than us.
Yeah,
What are we doing here?
City have better squad
That
depth.
statement made no sense.
Yeah, that made. Come on again. 11-11
Do
is
it
not
again.
about
Do it
squad
again.
depth.
Do it again. A
He said
second
11
chance.
for
No.
11. They have the best squad depth. What
Hold
does
on,
that
hold on.
mean?
Let him, guys. Let him talk. Go ahead.
Yeah, go.
Okay.
11-11. The statement is egal. Carmelo's statement, 11-11, healthy Arsenal is better than everyone in the league. Our statements, the rest of the panel, 11-11, it is competitive between Arsenal, City, and Liverpool. Do you disagree?
I disagree. I think Liverpool have 3 players better than Arsenal and City maybe. The rest of the team is very close, or City or Arsenal are better. City, they have Erling Haaland, who's better, I would say. But I feel like majority of other areas of the pitch, Arsenal can outdo them.
Rodri's
And
better.
I think out of overall,
Yeah, Rodri's better.
I think
100%.
overall balance, Arsenal is probably the more balanced team out of the 3.
You know what? Okay, I agree with that, but I'm just going to say something because we got to end the show. Is that the problem is your team is way more balanced, but you don't have someone up top, and your front line is at the end win you games. The reason why you don't concede a lot of chances, your midfield look very solid, but you don't win games, a lot of games, because your forward line is not clutch enough, like what Haaland does, like what Salah does. And that is why you're going out to buy a striker. Isn't that the right reason why you're going out to buy a striker?
Exactly.
Thank you so much. That is the whole point.
Our forward line is the difference between the two, though.
Saka has never exceeded any Mo Salah season in any season.
Never.
That's not true. Saka has gotten 25 plus GA, and Mo Salah has seasons where he had 25 GA.
Yeah, Habibi, Ahmad Diallo had more goals than Saka last season. You know what? I'm going to make that claim too. Ahmad is going to outscore Salah next season. Yallah. And I actually have more goals than you.
Salah or Saka?
Okay, now who's not being
No, I'm sorry. Ahmad Diallo is going to outscore Salah.
I'm throwing Doku. I'm throwing
now who's not being rational?
Can I tell you?
How's that not being rational? I'm going by your logic.
I'm gonna give
you to say it.
Guys,
No, hold on. What can you say?
Has Saka ever had a Mo Salah season?
No,
why are you asking me?
Staffy, the question is, has Ahmad ever got close to Saka's numbers? No. So then
yes, last season.
Well, they weren't 25.
Saka was injured.
Dan, can I throw in Foden? Because Foden had 19 goals last season.
Foden's done it. Foden's done it.
Ahmad didn't play the first 2 months of football under Ten Hag. He got sacked. And then after he got informed, he broke his ankle, missed 2 months of football. They played the same amount of games, and Ahmad outscored him. In a
very good
United team.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
He's going to be compared to Salah. That's the comparisons with Ahmad.
Because Ahmad Diallo was injured as well, like Saka, for the majority of the season as well.
And he was playing with Højlund. Imagine how many more assists. Højlund.
Yeah.
But the thing is, right? 2 seconds, mate. Agal has evidence of 2 prior seasons with Saka putting up really good numbers that he can make judgment that he could make an improvement to get to 30. Whereas with Ahmad, the closest he's probably got numbers wise was at Sunderland in the championship.
No, sure. When you say it like that, sure, of course. So because
we haven't seen Ahmad do enough yet in terms of proven history.
But then you missed what I didn't do.
Generate the numbers. But Agal,
I don't actually think he'll get more than Salah.
No, he doesn't. He's using Agal's logic.
Exactly.
Yeah, Agal is using evidence to suggest that a better season and a fit Saka can put up numbers that would move him.
Saka's never. Here's my thing. Saka's never going to be coached by Arteta the way Salah gets to get coached, even by Slot, where he gets to focus on what he does best. Salah came out this summer and he said that he told Arne Slot in the beginning of the season, he's like, I could do what you want me to do. I'm just not going to give you the same numbers, which is basically running around, tracking back and all that. That is the difference between a manager that gets the best out of his attackers and not. Until I see Arteta do that in his career, which he hasn't, I'll never sit here and suggest someone can put Salah numbers.
Who's the number one Ballon d'Or candidate?
You can't do that playing with Arteta.
Who's the number one Ballon d'Or candidate?
What's that relevant to anything I just said?
Go with the narrative. Go with the narrative.
Who is it? It's Dembele, right?
Dembele,
right? Dembele does more tracking back and work than Saka. Why is that?
The whole front line does that, Igao. That's an irrelevant comparison.
You can't win with Saka doing that. You can't get GA with that, but Dembele can. Come on, bro. It's a lazy narrative. The reality situation is.
Igao, but that's first of all, that's
the
such
reality
a bad
situation is
comparison.
Mo Salah's 33, but Saka is not 33.
Igao. Now I have to go and compare leagues, compare quality of defenses
that they're going against. 33 years old. Of course, he's
putting these numbers in the Premier League anyways.
Yeah, actually, stuff is okay. To be honest with you,
Dembele. 23. One is 33. It's a big difference. Of course, you're going to want to do less work.
Anyway,
but you're not getting the point. I'm not talking about their age. I'm talking about the coaching approach.
No, I'm saying it's a bad comparison. Talk about that.
I'm not downplaying Saka. I think actually Saka can do a little bit better in the front line that if he's coached by a better manager than this. I think Arteta's a good coach. He's just not an attacking coach. The reality
situation is Arteta has been able to get Bukayo Saka to produce at a level where he's in the breath of one of the best right wingers in the world. For you to say that another manager will get better from him, let's see, because we've not seen that yet.
Yes, I do think so.
We've not seen that yet. We've not seen that yet. Thomas Tuchel's rated as a better manager.
So moving forward, are we going to claim that Saka's glory is because of how good he is, or is it because of the manager? Because the one thing I always used to hear is how brilliant he is with club and country. He doesn't get coached by Arteta in the country. So what do we do? I just want to know how I move on from here.
I'm not sitting here saying that Arteta is the reason why Saka is so good.
You're the one high-level right winger in the world.
You're the one saying that Saka is not good because of Arteta.
And I didn't say he's not good. No, that's not what I said.
You're saying he'd be better under another manager.
Talking about.
You're saying he'd be better under a better manager.
I'm saying these numbers that you're expecting him to produce, he would do that under a more attacking manager. If Enrique had him, I bet you he could get these numbers. So this is not a slander on Saka. I wasn't even making fun of him. I speak very well of Saka. I just don't think he'll give these numbers. It just brings me back to the whole point again that I was making earlier. I don't think of Arteta as a manager who caters for her attacking line like that. So I don't think he gets these numbers. I'll be honest.
Let me debunk that. 2022-2023 season, we created the most chances across the front across our team.
I said bar that season when I made my monologue earlier.
And had a team that was one of the more attacking teams in Europe.
Did I not say that earlier again? I said bar that one season when you signed Jesus.
When he has the players to his disposal, he plays to his strengths. Arteta is not a defensive manager.
He hasn't been. He doesn't coach the same way since he got. You're lying.
Arteta is a manager who uses the best players that he has to disposal to get the best results. And what he did over the last 2 seasons was lean on his defense because the attack was not of the caliber to get us over the line. Well, guess what ended up happening? The defense by itself could not get us over the line because the attack let us down on numerous occasions. It's not that Arteta is not an attacking manager. He shifted to utilize the strength of his team. A good manager does not play attacking football.
Is the defense. He's more defensive. Why is it such a bad thing to say that? Why can I not just tell the truth? He's a defensive manager.
He's not a defensive manager. He's clearly shown that the team doesn't score over 100 goals in all competitions 3 seasons in a row, and you're a defensive manager. Come on.
Sure, you can. Mourinho did that, and everyone calls him a defensive manager. And he broke the scoring record in La Liga. No one talks about him being an attacking manager.
Okay.
If you want to sit here and lie to me and tell me that Arteta is more attacking minded than defensive minded, sure, go ahead. But we've watched enough football to see it.
I'm just saying he's not simply a defensive manager.
He is. He 100% is.
First, when he first came here, he played a back 3 because the team was terrible. Then he shifted finally to a back 4 when he had a decent back 4. The first season where he has a decent midfield that can create chances and a striker in Jesus who could stay fit for a little while, we were firing. The moment Jesus got injured, our attack started to dwindle and we dipped in the end of that season. When Kai Havertz came in, the next season, we started to look better. We got the most goals we ever got in a single season. And you had Saka and Kai Havertz producing at a high rate. I personally think that what you're talking about is over the last year, you've seen us be a lot more defensive, depend on set pieces a lot more, and you've come to the conclusion.
I just saw the coaching approach change. That's all. Like I think he's changed his approach. And I wasn't the only one that said that. I've been on this channel enough and so many other channels where I heard people say that Arsenal fans are not Arsenal fans. I don't think there's anything not objective about saying that. I think objectively you could see the way he's been coaching, and he shifted more towards a Simeone than a Pep. That's what I think.
I agree with that. But just because he shifted from being an attacking style to a defensive style doesn't mean he's only a defensive manager.
But
I think we'll see next season if he gets a strike.
I think he's utilizing what he has to his disposal. He's a chef in the kitchen, and he's using the ingredients that he has to his disposal.
A lot of what's in disposal was by design, again, I'll be honest.
How many of those were by design? We're talking about Havertz, Trossard, and Jesus are the
by design. A lot of these signings were by design.
He brought into the club. But
you
also,
don't think Arteta for all these years, I know Mo wants to go, but you don't think for all these years he's been going for more physical, tall, strong profiles type of players and shifted away from that one season that you mentioned, by the way, I think that was the most technical team you had. And it was a lot of lower center of gravity players, a lot of attacking fluidity. I think he changed from that. That was 3 years ago. That's a long time ago now. It's long gone.
Yeah, you don't want a soft team anymore. Things change.
Sure. Which just proves my point. That
Egal, just as reference, Salah's worst ever GA season in the Prem is better than Saka's best, which is what Redline and Teranga is saying. Saka's best GA season is 25. Salah's worst GA season is 27.
Yeah, that's quite close.
But Dial is saying Salah is 10 years older than Saka, so who is 1 year older. Yeah, I think Saka still has a peak. Salah should take corners too. Thank you, Andrew. Egal on the National League, so polar bear in desert. I think actually that's a very good conversation that we had. Actually, I like that conversation. Different opinions. Redline Taranga. Arteta hasn't changed. The season forced him to. That's what Egal is saying. That he used what is at his disposal. That is what everyone's. Guys, I'm actually 4 subscribers away from 34,200. So hit that like button, subscribe if you're here. Let's get these 4 subscribers before the end of the show. Hit that like button, people. Also 10 likes away from 400. We still have like 1,100 people here. Staffy TV in the description. Egal Talks Football in the description as well. So go and support the guys. Patrick, True City fan. Of course, Dan, Tom Little. I'm not going live today. Tomorrow is Hussam and Ashraf and all these guys later. I will see you guys later tomorrow or something. And thank you so much. Out.